This is Psych Overflow, coming to you from the University of Southern California's Psychology Department.
We are your go-to podcast for all things psychology.
Welcome, and let's dive in.
Okay, welcome to Psych Overflow. My name is Armin. I am a rising second-year psych student in BCS, and I'm joined here with Natalie, who is a fellow rising second-year student in BCS. And today we wanted to just kind of talk about summer and just kind of like what we've been doing and how that might vary from, one student to another. Both Natalie and I are in the BCS program, so hopefully we'll have another episode up to kind of show what other students might be doing, perhaps clinical students. So Natalie, how has your summer been?
It's been great so far. Very relaxing and challenging in certain ways, but mostly really nice. I've enjoyed it. I kind of started off the summer like thinking about goals, things that I wanted to accomplish for the summer. I guess since both of us are, first years, this is our first summer. I wasn't 100% sure what would be expected of me or like what does the summer look like for a grad student? So this is our first time going through it. So I figured I should start with goals in mind first. So I probably set those up in like May, right before we jumped into things. And yeah, talking about that really quickly, I think one of the goals that I had was to learn a new programming language. So I learned R. I took a summer course not at UPC, so not at our main campus, but over at the Keck campus. And
Cool.
that was, it was fun. I haven't used like that type of coding skill in a really long time. So it was kind of challenging, but in a good way. So I did that. I kind of did that in all of June. I took a class every Monday and Thursday for that. And then I wanted to spend more time writing since during the semester, we spend so much of our time in classes, in meetings, doing research, things like that. So since my plate felt a little less full during the summer, I wanted to take advantage of that time and just write publications, book chapters, whatever I could kind of help my PI with or things that I was interested in doing. And then the very last thing that was like a big goal for me was poking around at some preliminary data that we had collected during the spring semester. And so that's like my main project that I'm kind of working on for my PI. And so I wanted to see whether or not there was anything funky going on with the data, like let's catch it early, let's catch it now, mitigate any issues that might occur in the future. And then also see if any of the things that we were kind of hypothesizing are trending the way we thought they were going to trend. So that's kind of been my summer, just data stuff, writing, and challenging myself as much as I can.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you've been busy.
A little
You're so
bit.
busy.
It sounds like I'm more busy than I actually am. There's been a lot of time, like a lot of days, a lot of downtime where I am able to relax and I am able to, rest and kind of recoup. Because I know that our semesters are obviously going to be they're busier, and as we get higher and higher, second year, third year, they become even more busy, right? So, really also prioritizing rest as much as I can, while also trying to keep myself busy, I guess.
Yeah, I resonate with that because I had a similar thing, I guess. I don't know, maybe it's just the way that you kind of have to be in a PhD program where you kind of just have to plan things out. I know now that if I don't put something in like a to-do list or like a meeting in my calendar, I will forget about it
Totally.
just because it feels like there's so much going on. But yeah, I started the summer like right around, yeah, like May, and doing a similar thing. I had some goals, both like personal, I guess, for the summer, just because we have more time to do things that might be not academic related, but like
Yeah.
still interesting. And also, of course, like certain academic, I guess, or research related goals for myself as well. Very similar to you, just basically like, okay, like I have this manuscript, I want to write it, I want to generate figures for it, and this will be like some good unadulterated time to do that. I think right around May is when we had our BCS sort of like meet and greet with
Yeah.
Morteza, who's our new head of BCS. But yeah, he hosted a meet and greet, and I remember I was talking to Milad afterwards, who
Mm.
is in the same lab as you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a senior graduate student now. I think he finished his fifth year. He's working on his thesis at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah, yeah. So I remember talking to him and just being like, oh, like I'm gonna use this summer to like just do a bunch of work. And I'm like, I don't know though, like, because I was also uncertain how like lab meetings and things would progress over the summer. I didn't know if it was just like kind of mutually agreed that summer would be time off, or if it was mutually agreed that it would be like this is more time to do research. And maybe that's sort of, I guess, lab dependent, but something that Milad said that kind of stuck with me was that unless we're, getting some sort of like funding from like a fellowship or from our PI to be like an RA over the summer, or maybe there are also like TA ships through the summer. I'm not super familiar with that. Um, but he said that I guess sort of contractually we're not really obligated to do anything over the summer.
Right.
And that was nice. I feel like I kind of needed to hear that because I did also just want to take some, R&R time over the summer and just enjoy myself, enjoy the summer, enjoy my freedom. So yeah, I've been doing that, and I went on a couple trips, saw family, which is easy for me because my family's in San Diego, so it's only a 2-hour drive. But it's been difficult to shake this like just kind of like voice in the back of my head of like this is time that I should be working on research, and it's weird. It's summer and I'm not like specifically tied to any project via like funding or anything currently. I still like have this like almost like implicit pressure where I'm like I should be getting something done. So it's kind of been, I don't know, interesting, I guess you could say, to try to like balance, the desire and the need to get work done while also, taking the time to relax and kind of recharge before we jump back into like the next academic cycle. So I'm wondering if, I don't know, well, I guess first I should ask, are you getting paid right now to work on specific projects?
I have a fellowship, yeah, throughout the summer.
Okay.
That'll change in the fall. I'll be an RA. So yes, I am getting paid over the summer. So I do want to carry certain projects and things like that, and then we do have new hires for the project. So there are new project assistants and whatnot. So they're trying to figure out how the study design works and all that stuff. So I want to be around there to, be able to support them. So I'm happy to do that. But yeah, I mean, I totally understand and I hear you, the whole like making sure that you're also balanced. I am blessed with an amazing PI who, wants me to be productive, right? And encourages me to be productive, but also 100% understands the need for rest and making
Hmm.
sure that I'm not pushing myself too hard, So he kind of asked me at the beginning, right before we jumped into summer, what do you want to do? Do you want to relax a little bit? Like if there's a week or two where you're like, don't email me, that's totally fine, But I do hear you, the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, you could be using this time to do all these other things and really push a lot of things forward, right? And when the semester starts, it's going to be harder for you to be able to do that, Natalie. Like that little voice in my head for
Yeah.
sure. But then, it is hard, also making sure that if I do nothing but work and work and work and I'm constantly on, that hamster on the wheel, when do I get to relax? When do I really get to enjoy my hobbies,
Hmm. Hmm.
be with family? I think that's something that I like definitely reflected on the past year. As the first year, I'm not 100%, I wasn't 100% sure what to expect in terms of time that I would have to engage in my hobbies, working out, random little things like that. And so throughout the year, if I'm honest, those things were kind of on the back burner. And so now I'm really trying to focus this summer in building good routines that, I am balancing the work, I am moving things forward, but I am still engaging in the things that I love and making time and space for that as well. And hoping that if I do that during the summer, that I'll carry all throughout the year as well. And I'll be better off for it. I think when we do relax and we give ourselves that space and that time, we end up being more productive. I think that was one of the things that ended up like driving me nuts this past summer, honestly, like digging into data and you're like, what the heck is going on? Some of this data, because some of this data is like all over the place and you're like, what the heck? And like, how do I do this? And how do I figure out how to like analyze this in a way that's meaningful and like what's going on? How do I handle this like weird situation that's happening with this one specific participant or this one set of circumstances or whatever? And then, I'm starting at 8 a.m. doing it and working until 8 p.m. trying to figure out, solve these problems. And then I gave
Mhm.
myself a couple days of break. And then the epiphany happened during that break time where I was really
Yeah.
relaxing. The epiphany happened. And then when I got back to doing the data analysis stuff, I carried it further, than I was able to do in like the 3 days that I was like hammering it and trying really hard to make it work. So it's trying to remind myself of that as well, that, the balance to everything in life it matters.
Yeah. No, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think and for those of you who might not know, John's or Natalie's advisor is John Monterosa,
Yeah.
um, seems like a really cool dude for my interactions with him. Super nice, and my advisor is Pam Pirai. You mentioned how he's very understanding and accommodating if you do want to take some time over the summer, and I have the same experience with Pion, and I think that you know it's good to have an advisor who is understanding that maybe we do need to take some time off just to relax. And I don't know about you, but for me it's super easy for me to get burned out. Like it might be a problem honestly, but yeah, if I spend like a week working on something nonstop, then the next week I'll just be like in the dark playground. I just can't get myself to do anything. So it is like striking that balance, and and having, I guess, those maybe difficult conversations for some with your advisor, just to be like, hey, like, I want to take some time off this week. I want to, go visit family. I won't be able to, make it to this meeting, or, perhaps I won't have like much update on this project. But it is really important. I've noticed that in myself too, that it's just super important to have that time to yourself to just relax. And, as you said, a lot of that sort of relaxation time kind of produces good work results as well. So that's something that I've been trying to do as well. And I guess also, just be like a little bit easier on myself, which is difficult, because objectively, we don't have courses, we don't have the TA, and summer is just more time to do research. So it's, I don't know how much research progress is made over the summer, but especially because some people have internships and stuff, but I imagine that quite a bit of progress is made over the summer, just when you're allowed to just kind of really focus on these problems. So, it is a fine balancing act because, you kind of have to understand that this is good unadulterated time to work on your research projects and, write if you need to write or whatever. But also this is our time to relax. And I don't know if I've necessarily found the correct balance. It's a good consequence, I guess, because it shows that, perhaps we're just really interested in our research, and it's really easy to get kind of lost in the problem for a whole day. But then, you also do have to kind of just remind yourself, like, okay, I should step back, I should go out, touch grass, enjoy myself a little bit. So yeah, I'm glad you shared your perspective on that. So something random, I kind of just was reminded of. So when you're running like analysis for your projects, do you ever feel like super anxious before you run the analysis? Like in case it like fails or you just don't get the results you're looking for?
Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, that's
Because you're collecting all the data in hopes for that, significant result or whatever. And
yeah.
then, you're like going through the motions and then you like it's data, you click like this do button or
Hmm.
whatever, and then it's supposed to run the analyses and then it's red. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh no, what's going on? And then you're like, okay, what is this error message telling me? Where is the problem? How do I diagnose the problem? I mean, God bless ChatGPT for that, because that definitely is now a
Yeah.
lifesaver for it. And I'm like, what does this mean and what's going on? And then when you finally do run the result and there is no red, and then you see the results and you're like, well, this is not at all what I thought I was gonna get. But maybe that's a beautiful thing, right? Like that's the point of science. We go into it thinking, hypothesize that's what's going to be. And then you actually look at it and then it's something totally different. And you're like, what does this mean? What could this mean? Maybe this is something like a new area, that I can kind of toss into the body of knowledge.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great perspective too. When I was talking to my advisor and we're just talking about like what to expect from, our pilot.
Yeah.
And I was getting super anxious that like I was like, okay, what if we don't see, the effect that we want? And then he was like, yeah, I mean, like if we don't see it, or if we see like the opposite, then that would also be really cool
Yeah.
because that's, then we could ask why, why is that the case? And it's simple. Like I don't know. I never really thought about it like that, but it is like a very simple, just kind of like mindset to have where it's like, yeah, like even if it doesn't come out the way you expected, that's how science works, and that's cool, and it can lead to interesting results as well. But the anxiety, I thought it would go away before I run any sort of program. The debugging is just hell, and also just having your program work, but not in the way you expect it. Also, honestly, maybe even worse in some cases because everything's working, but then you're like, okay, it works, but it doesn't work. And yeah, I thought this like the pain, like I get like really like almost I don't want to make it like dramatic, but I almost get like a little nauseous before I run something for the first time because I know it's not gonna work, and like the dread of having to debug be overwhelming. Um, but then, once you eventually do it and then you kind of get sucked into it, it goes away. But it's nice to hear that it's at least something that you experienced as well. I don't know if it's universal, but
I think it is because I follow a lot of like meme accounts for PhD type things. And it's like, this is the universal thing. If there are memes about how you feel, then we all feel that way.
it's true.
So
Yeah.
sometimes I look back at those and I think, oh yeah, that's nice. That's like validating, reassuring that I'm not alone in this. We all experience this.
That's true. Actually, yeah, that's funny because I the meme accounts are more than just memes at that point. It's almost like just collective, like, oh, okay, we all experience this.
Yes.
It's and it's funny too because yeah, I was like I'd see like little memes pop up on like Twitter or Instagram or whatever before I was, fully doing the PhD. And I'd laugh at them. But now
They hit
when I'm
different.
living it, yeah, it's like, oh, this is these aren't just memes, like this is real. Like
Yeah.
this so yeah, it is very comforting in a way too.
Yeah. And if they can make it, thousands of scientists before us have made it through, then we can do it too. But I do agree with you.
Yeah.
It's like how do you deal with the emotionality of it all?
Hmm.
I think maybe as we get older in our PhD, as we get through it, um, maybe we'll get better at it. Or maybe it'll always feel this way. Hopefully it doesn't, but
I hope so. Yeah, I feel like everything that all of like the negative experiences I've had with like yeah, like running code or presenting and things like
oh,
that. It I don't know, like presenting too. I thought there would be a time where I just become super confident, and I'll be presenting like my own research, stuff that I'm doing theoretically, and like no one else is really doing the exact same thing. So I should be kind of like sort of the expert on this topic.
right.
And I'll still be incredibly nervous before the presentation. I'll be like, okay, like if somebody asks a really hard question, how am I gonna respond to that? And I thought it was something that might go away, but and again, I guess to give credit to the memes, it does seem like it's just kind of something that people just experience, and I guess you kind of just get better at dealing with that feeling of dread. you know?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, hopefully, yeah. But I do think we will get better at it as we, just progress through our careers and through our PhD.
Mhm.
I think it's helpful for sure. I dislike public speaking. It makes me very nervous, but we have so many opportunities to be able to push ourselves. I think in a safe environment, a safe space, right? Like
Mhm.
decision neuroscience class we had, you and I took it together. in the spring semester, and we had to present multiple times. But that helped, that helped like kind of hopefully give us a little bit of confidence, a little more confidence. And I think every year, the more we keep putting ourselves in these uncomfortable positions, either by force or because we're trying to push ourselves, we'll get better and better.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. Okay, so yeah, just to bring it back on track, you mentioned you had some goals that you set at the beginning of May for yourself. Do you feel like you have, you know, reached those goals? Do you feel like you're on track to reach them over the summer, or have your goals shifted?
I'd say, yeah. I mean, I got an A in the R class, so I feel like,
Nice.
again, challenging, but in a good way, and I did it successfully. So, a check for that. And then I have been writing more. I was able to get a publication that I'd kind of been dragging throughout the entire year and like kind of working on it a little here and there. I was able to actually push that out, and now I'm working on another one. And
Nice. Congrats.
then yeah, thank you. And then in terms of preliminary data, yesterday I was able to, speak with John about what the results I had found, and they were promising. They are kind of trending in a certain way that we were thinking that they would. So hopefully, as we continue collecting more data, maybe in like December, I'll be able to write another paper using some of that data. So yeah, I mean, so far we're checking all the boxes, I think, and I'm also, spending that time relaxing, spending that time, getting back into exercise and things like that, and other hobbies and whatnot that I kind of was putting on the back burner throughout the year. So yeah, I mean, I'd say so far on track. I don't think anything has fallen to the wayside yet. And then crazily, it's already July 24th, like in a month, we'll be starting the semester. It almost feels like it flew by really quickly as well.
It does. Yeah, it really does. Yeah, that's something that I've been trying to just come to terms with is that, 1 month from now we're going to be beginning again and classes are going to start and you know, we'll see. I like being busy, I guess, in that sense, and kind of being forced to go to campus and everything just for courses. I will be starting to TA next year, so kind of nervous about that. I was on fellowship my first year, so we'll see how TAing goes. I think hopefully, I've developed like a good sort of routine, and hopefully the extra, I guess, responsibilities from being a TA doesn't disrupt that too much. But yeah, so a little nervous about that. But other than that, yeah, I'm very excited to start again and also just kind of like enjoy the rest of the summer while I can too.
Yeah, I think I might try to now that I honestly, this is the first time anybody has asked me whether or not I've been making my goals, the goals that I set from the beginning of the summer. This is the first time that I'm genuinely reflecting on that. And I'm like, yeah, I have been doing all the things that I said that I was going to do. Cool. All right. So maybe I should take a break and enjoy the rest of my summer as well. Like you said. So prioritizing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's good. I had certain goals as well, and I I would say, yeah, I'm hopefully on track to at least for my academic goals to achieve those. I think something that I have to do is also make sure I set realistic goals for myself
Mhm.
because I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like I tend to think I'm better, or maybe not better, but just can do more than I'm physically capable of at times. And like it's really difficult, especially like again, because like summer is just like this 2.5, almost 3 months of just time to really focus on yourself and your research. So initially I was like, yeah, like I can do like 2 projects. Like I could start a new project too. And but I had to like, temper the expectations because that's, at least for me, that's not how it works. I have to make sure I'm being realistic with myself. And I was like, okay, maybe one. Let's just try to like really focus on one and set some other like small goals here and there. And I think that was also beneficial for me too, was just kind of being realistic with myself and knowing kind of like how much time I would be able to dedicate over the summer. Because that's also, like if you set too unrealistic of goals. At least for me, it feels like you kind of just feel bad when you're not like achieving what you thought you would, and kind of have to like pivot and be like, okay, maybe I was being a little unrealistic. It still hurts because you kind of set that expectation for yourself. But I set realistic goals, and it feels good. I feel like I should be, hopefully getting there. If not, then that's fine. Still have 4 more years here. So
Exactly.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of time to do everything.
Exactly. Yeah. I think one thing I've also been thinking about, so Morteza made us fill out that like evaluation form of ourselves.
Oh yeah,
And I thought that
yeah.
that was helpful, right? So I could figure out like what have I been doing all year? What did I accomplish and celebrate those wins? And then also, think about he said like a mini goal for what do you want to do in this next coming year, and then what do you want to accomplish by the time you leave the program. And so yeah, I mean that I think also really helped me kind of reflect on again the successes, that I've accomplished thus far, but also like what are the things that I kind of want to build toward and eventually accomplish. And so, yeah, I thought that was helpful too.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was great. Like I think it is important to just sort of have that sort of self-reflection, forced self-reflection, I guess. Because but it was good, yeah, because like it forced me to like sit down and really think about it and take it seriously. And yeah, it also made me realize that, maybe there are certain things that I could prioritize more, and certain things I might have been prioritizing too much,
Mm.
because I forget how many, I guess, goals or objectives there were in that sort of self-reflection, but I want to say there was like at least like 8 or 9
Something like that, yeah.
different things. Yeah, and um it just goes to show that like yeah, this PhD is like a very, as much as it is like, we're being trained to become scientists and do, meaningful and hopefully good, research. It is a bit more holistic in a sense, there's a lot more that goes into it. And, that reflection, I guess, also kind of put that in perspective for me too.
Yeah. So I think summer is a good time for PhD students at least, to really like think about those things, think about the things that they did over the year, what they kind of want in the coming year, and then what they want at the end of the program. I think it was cool that he had us do that.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. Okay, so before we wrap up, do you have any words of wisdom, I guess, to people who are maybe currently in their first year? So in the same boat as us going into summer, or maybe I don't know if we have any listeners who are just thinking about going into academia. Do you have any words of wisdom for summer and kind of what helped you throughout your summer?
Yeah, I mean, enjoy your summer, enjoy your breaks. I think the take home message I'm getting from this episode, just kind of in general, is rest and relaxation, super important, just as much as productivity. So finding that balance and being kind to yourself about it when you might not be feeling like you're being as productive as you think you are. Just try to be as mindful as you can about that because the epiphanies happen when you take that break.
Yes. Yeah, well said. I agree. I'm not even going to provide my own addition to that because I think you did such a good job. Yeah, I agree completely. I think, summer is a time to get ahead and research. There's no doubt about it, but also it is time to relax as well. And that's something that we should just try to prioritize, I think.
100%.
And, maybe not just throughout summer, but, over the weekends and stuff as well. But at least in summer, it's a lot easier to just, do that R&R.
Yeah, I agree.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you, Natalie. Thanks for
Yeah,
joining me. And
thank you. This is Psych Overflow signing off. Thank you for listening.
Be sure to subscribe to our podcast for future episodes, and don't hesitate to reach out to us with your feedback, questions, or topic suggestions.
See you next time.